Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and this is always an exciting video for me to do each year, and that's the new boat walkthrough. I mean, anytime you get a new boat, it is pretty exciting. So getting to go through it and just really show everything that's on this new boat, all the accessories, all the electronics, just everything about it. It's pretty exciting deal. I think this is the third. I believe this is the third Z-21XL I've ran, and love this boat, man. I really love the way it fishes. All the Nitros I've ever had were wonderful boats, but really like this Z-21XL, laid out really well. And we'll get into that layout some here in a minute, but going to start at the front, work our way back towards the back, and kind of go through everything that we've got on this boat this year. And I'll start by saying there's a lot going on up here at the front, and it is the same setup that I ran last year as far as electronics and that kind of stuff is concerned. I love that setup from last year. It was clean, it worked well for me, and so I didn't want to change it going into our 2024 season. The thing I did end the year with, didn't start the year with, but ended with, was that new Minn Kota Ultrex Quest trolling motor. It's a brushless motor, definitely stronger and even faster than the original Ultrex, and just a smoother, quieter motor all the way around, like I said, as well as being faster. Honest to goodness, my regular Ultrex, as soon as I'd get in the water, first thing in the morning, I would see 3.0 to maybe 3.2 miles an hour. I'll see 3.8 to 4.0 miles an hour on this trolling motor on this big Nitro Z21XL. So a very strong, very fast, very quiet motor. And not only is the motor itself quieter, the steering is quieter, the bracket's quieter and stronger. A lot of improvements in that Quest over the original Ultrex that I didn't really know that they could improve on. So definitely an impressive motor in my book. Other stuff going on up here, of course, I've got my Humminbird 360, and one adjustment that I always have done to this unit, like I've shared videos of how to do it before, but I always have that cut down. This is the one that's made for an Ultrex. I have about 7 inches cut off of it, and the guys at the factory did that for me again this year when they were rigging my boat. And so had that done there. Of course, I've got Mega Live here on the trolling motor. But then you'll see I've also got one of the Railblades of the live pole out here, and I've got a Mega Live attached to it. So I've got the wires ran up for both of these into the TH Marine cable here to where it hides all that stuff. And if I want to run the one on the trolling motor, I just plug those two ports together and it's operating. If I want to run the one on that live pole, I unplug that and then just plug those cables in off of it onto that, so I can switch from one transducer to the other one really easily. Now again, this is initial rigging on this boat. This is what I've got set up. I've got that live pole on that hex mount, and I've got it mounted right up here on the front of the boat. I'm actually in the process of moving that to where it's going to be on the trolling motor, and going to be on part of the bracket right here on the trolling motor. So really excited about the opportunity of running that live pole on my boat this year, but actually having it incorporated into the trolling motor. Now it's going to be there, and that's how I'm going to fish with it. I don't intend to motor with it there, to run down the lake or something with that there. It's a quick disconnect deal. I'm able to slide it off of there and lay it down on the deck of the boat and have it protected that way. But I am excited for that hopefully to come soon, because I think that's going to be a really good way to use that live pole, make it easy to get in and out of the water and stuff too. So pretty excited for that. Just not exactly what we're working with right now. This was what I was using currently. So electronic setup, got two Humminbird Apex 16 units up here on the front. The front unit is what I've got run 360 solely on that front unit. On the one closer to me, I run split screen between mapping and live, or mapping and 2D, just depending on what situation and kind of what fishing that I'm doing at that point in time. But most of the time I'm running Mega Live on one side and then my Lake Master mapping split screen on the other. I love 360, and I want to run one unit just dedicated solely to 360, so that's what I do with that one up there. Kind of coming back here a little bit, like I mentioned, on my cable, I've got so many wires and stuff running through here, both 360 with Mega Live, everything else. Having all that cable management with this TH Marine, that trolling motor wrap deal, Velcro. It just keeps all that stuff bundled in there really nicely. And like I mentioned, I've got those to where I can quick disconnect those other wires, and just I actually end up cutting that kind of into pieces to how that worked for it. And it's a, you know, just a really clean, easy to manipulate system there. Then I did add my two stomp switches. I had my two stop switches for my Minn Kota Raptors back there on the back. I've got one on each side of the trolling motor foot pedal, and I think that pretty well. Well, both these Apex 16s, I do have those mounted on that new Bass Boat Technologies mount. One thing that's neat with that one, you can literally just take a couple bolts loose, and if you need to get down into your dash to do anything with wires and stuff, you can take those screens off, just a couple bolts, and that actually folds in, and then you can access those wires through that hole instead of having to take the whole dash off of the boat like you typically do. So really cool thing that they're doing now with Bass Boat Technologies on those bow mounts for your graphs. Just another way that they're kind of staying ahead of the game. So that's pretty well it up here on the front, I think. It's funny to say because we've spent 15 minutes talking about everything going on up here. So we'll slide back here a little bit. Really just looking at the layout of the boat. Again, you know, the same as the last couple of years on the Z-21XL. You know, the same layout as we've had the last few years on the Z-21XL. You've got these little day boxes up here on the front. And of course, I've got my rod tamers from TH Marine screwed down here on the deck of the boat. Got my G-Force trolling motor handle here with that cable on it. One thing I will mention right here on this boat, you know, with these little day boxes, they're hinged here along the side. Well, I fish barefoot a lot, and these hinges, just to make these boxes work the way they are, that hinge actually sticks up just a little bit, and it catches my bare feet. So I take the hinge off altogether, so the lid will come off, but it fits tight. I don't ever have to worry about it blowing off going down the lake or going down the road or anything. But I literally take the hinges off of it because I don't want to cut my foot on it. So that's just something I do when I get the boat in. Again, that's what I like to do about this walkthrough, is just kind of show some of the modifications I do to my boat to truly make it my own. You know, hey, it's your boat. You need to make it suit the way you're going to fish out of it and what you're going to do with it. Over here, the driver's side rod box, another place that I personally modify a little bit. It's got that rod tube organizer up there in it, but I carry too many rods to use that thing effectively. So I end up pulling it out. I just keep my rods, of course, in Bass Pro stick jackets, and I can pile, you know, 30, 35 rods in there without any trouble. Trying to use those tubes, you know, it's set up really well for 12 or 15 rods, which is sufficient for most folks. But for me, I pull it out, and then I just put my rods in rod jackets, and that's an easier system for me. Again, another thing that you know, just kind of making it my own. Another place here where I definitely add some accessories. From TH Marine, I've got my Tackle Titan here. I've got those magnetic deals where I'm able to hang baits and let them stick up there, and then they're there, easy to get to. I'll hang hooks through there or on there throughout the season. But a big thing I do, and I've got 3 of them on each of these boxes. I've got 3 under this lid, 3 under that lid, are these line spooling stations from Railblazer. Man, these deals right here, it's so new. I've got them installed, but I've not put my line on there yet. Those are a lifesaver for me. So I've got 6 in the boat, so I'll have 8, 10, 12, 14, 17, 20 on these 6 line spooling stations. I may carry a spool of 6 in here occasionally, and if I do, I'll just keep it loose in the boat. But yeah, I'll have that there. It'll be there the whole season. Super easy to put on your boat and extremely useful. As much leader line is what I use, spinning tackle, bait casters, all that. Those things there get used every single day when I'm out on the water. Another part of stuff that comes in this boat to keep it organized, you know, it's got some dividers that come in here. Again, I carry so much stuff, I pull most of the dividers out, and I just want to have a big open box, and then I can do with it, you know, kind of as I please. Same deal over here, basically. Again, those line spooling stations, Tackle Titan under the lid. Really not too much different there. And this rod box over here, this is where I'll end up storing most of my soft plastics. I've got those Bass Pro totes that I have my soft baits in. They line up really nice in this rod box down through there. Just a really, really good way to keep that stuff stored. Don't have much anything in there at the moment. And coming back here, we've got, of course, your tool holders right here on both sides, cup holder over here. One of the most important parts of a boat is a good cooler. Everybody's got to have snacks and drinks when you go fishing. This Z-21XL has a very large cooler, very deep cooler, and probably the thing I get about as many comments on as anything is how nice it is to have a trash can, a dedicated trash can, put your stuff in it, and then when you stop at the gas station, at the end of the day, the next morning, 2 weeks later, when you finally remember to clean your boat out, you just pull that trash can out, dump it out in a can, and you're down the road, so you don't have to be digging the trash out of the bottom of the cooler like you do most of the time. Coming back here at the console over on the passenger side, something that I added on my boat last year, and after I did, I was like, I can never be without this again, is one of the tackle caddies from Railblaze. Just a great place to keep the stuff that you need throughout the course of a day. You know, we've got a cup holder, a couple cup holders here and stuff, but man, you know, pack of baits, some loose baits you cut off, because I was always guilty of throwing that stuff here on the step. You run down the lake, wind catches it, blows off in the floor, steps on it, gets broke, whatever. This is a great place to catch all that stuff. And you can also use this for pliers and scissor holders, all that kind of stuff works really well there. Of course, something that comes in the boat is this great little drawer right here. Got all kind of stuff in here, super glue, hand sanitizer, ibuprofen. Yeah, lots of stuff going on in that box. Definitely a really good accessory that we've always had on our Nitros is that little drawer right there. Got some speakers down here. You always got to be bumping some good music when you're running down the lake for the built-in stereo system. Over here at the console, of course, I've got another Apex 16 from Humminbird. You know, for several years, I ran 2 Helix 12s here at the console, and I liked that setup, and it worked really well. But last year, I was like, I'm going to step up to just one screen, but make it a bigger one with that 16-inch unit. And I really like how clean it is back here. It's just, man, I've gotten used to the touchscreen part of it. It works really well. I love having just one graph back here at the back of the boat. So I'm probably running less graphs than a lot of my competitors in the fact that I've only got 3, but I've got, I guess, 48 inches of screen on this boat just in those 3 units, you know. So it's worked well for me. Kind of a, you know, less units but bigger ones. Of course, got it mounted on a Bass Boat Technology mount back here too. And then right here on the side of the windshield, I've got a Railblaze Starport. A neat thing with it, I'd use a bolt that matches up to that base that's already in there. So I just pull the thumb screw out, screw that Starport on right there. It's a great place to mount a GoPro, anything else you'd ever want to put on a Starport, but that's a really, really simple deal to do there. We got a Raptor switch right here, kind of on the side of the console. So, you know, if I'm at the seat and I need to put my Raptors down, I can right here. If I come down and catch a fish, you know, getting ready to weigh it or something, I've got a button right here that's easy to get to, put those Raptors down so they can stop me. You may notice in here I've got my LED lights turned on, just something that, you know, their function, they work well, you know, in those low light conditions if you're out in the boat rigging up and stuff, and then they just look really cool a lot of the rest of the time if you're, you know, out there in the evening or something. One other thing here at the console is this, you know, storage spot right here in between the seats. Excellent place to keep sunglasses, sunscreen, you know, some stuff to clean your sunglasses with, hearing protection for running down the lake. Got an extra Raptor switch in there. A lot of just miscellaneous, got some GoPro stuff, a lot of miscellaneous stuff ends up in this box right here. Everything at the console is pretty much standard operating procedure. One thing I will make mention of is that Z-Touch screen, and it's got different modes that you can set on it. It's got a shallow water mode, it's got a whole shot mode. Setting those modes makes it so easy because I can set that whole shot mode for my jack plate down low, my trim set all the way down. You know, I can crank the motor, haven't been fishing up real shallow or something, I can crank the motor, start idling out, touch that whole shot, everything starts working. My jack plate starts going down, my trim starts going down. I don't have to touch anything else. I literally tap one button, it's all configured together, starts letting it down. I punch the gas and I'm off on my way. As well as when I come in, I shut down, say I run back into a cove, you know, I'm going to be fishing up real shallow water as I typically am. as I shut down, I can touch that shallow water mode. Everything is going to start raising. The jack plate's going to come up. Trim's going to come up. That stuff's going to already get set to wherever I have set that mode at, and it just makes it really nice. One touch of one button, and everything gets exactly where you want it. Just a really convenient factor that, convenient thing that we've got on these boats now that I was honestly missing out a lot on. Andy was like, "Dude, you got to set this thing up. It's so slick," and he was absolutely right. Just how handy it is. That's about it here at the console. Of course, run a hot foot from TH. That's under there. And then moving back here, we've got our live wells. Parker and I use those when we fish some tournaments. Hopefully we do. Get to use the live wells in this boat. Of course, there's 2 storage boxes back here at the back. And then in that rear compartment is where all my Lithium Pros batteries are. I've got that 215 amp hour 12-volt battery that I run all my electronics, my engine, everything off of that one big battery. And I say big because it's a little bit taller than your standard Group 31 battery, then 3 12-volt 100 amp hour trolling batteries. Then I've got all that being charged by a Minn Kota 460 PC charger that is configured now to where it is completely compatible. I used it forever with lithium, didn't have any trouble, but it's actually made for lithium batteries now. It's got that setting in there. But that's an excellent system for me. I love having those 4 12-volt batteries. It really works out well. And that's what they're actually the same batteries out of my boat from last year. I just pulled them out of that one, rolled them right into this one. Spare prop back there, extra life jackets, all the necessities, kind of keep that stuff in the back. As well as under this rear hatch, I've got voltmeter, I've got jumper box, I've some extra tools and that kind of things. All that kind of stuff I keep back here in this rear area. So that's pretty much it as far as inside the boat. We'll hop out here for a second and look at a couple things back here off the back of the boat. Back here off the back of the boat, of course, we've got that Mercury 250 Pro XS, that V8. Just such an excellent performing motor, and everybody knows how they sound and how great they sound and perform. A couple things that I use to keep it safe when I'm traveling down the road: those motor sticks from TH Marine, steer stops from TH Marine. Got those on there. That's such a simple way to keep your motor still, safe. Protect your transom, all those good things with those steer or motor sticks and steer stops. Just really easy stuff to carry, and it's not a big, bulky, heavy motor toter like some of the other ones out there on the market are, where you have to, worry about putting it in your truck. Man, you can pop those off. You can always find somewhere in the boat to leave those if that's what you want to do. 12-inch setback, Atlas hydraulic jack plate. I love fishing shallow water. I couldn't have a boat anymore without an Atlas hydraulic jack plate on it. 8-foot Minn Kota Raptors. The black just matches up with everything really well back here. And my, all the filming that I do in this boat in the boats on the Bass Pro Tour, and any other filming we do for YouTube, that camera mount back here, that's one of the hex mounts from Railblaza, and then up to a camera pole from Railblaza as well. That's a really sturdy way to mount that GoPro back here on the back of the boat. Does a fantastic job all season long. As far as a little bit of stuff we'll touch on rigging wise, my side imaging for my Humminbird, it's mounted down here. It's mounted on that vertical part of the transom, but down there as low as it can be to where it's about even with that step. And with it mounted there the way it is, I can idle at 4.5 to 5 miles an hour. So pretty quick and get a really good picture without getting any disturbance, from the water under there. Mounting that in a good place, making sure it's level, that stuff is all extremely important. So if you're doing that yourself, really pay attention to mounting that level with the bottom of the boat, and be sure that you get it down there as low as you can without having it in danger of actually, knocking it off on something if you were to go across a log or something. One other thing on these Nitros anymore, it's got that remote drain plug. It's so nice because you don't have to crawl under there and pull that plug in and out. Just a great addition. Of course, the safety ladder over there on the other side that's offset to where it doesn't get in the way of the Raptors at all. I do on my boat, when they rig it, we do put a antenna back here for my Humminbird units for the one at the console. It does have internal GPS, and I don't use a puck an external puck on the front ones, because that unit is really close to where the transducer is. It's almost directly over top of it. Back here, you've got a 6 or 8 foot difference, maybe at least 8 foot difference between where the transducer is and where the head unit itself is. So when you mark a waypoint, it's referenced off of the transducer. If you're marking it on your sonar screen, it's referenced off the transducer. If you're using the GPS that's in your graph, you're going to be 8 or so feet off every single waypoint you mark. So because of that, that's why for this back here, I do have a external antenna mounted for this rear unit. They don't want to put it too close to the motor because of magnetics and all that different kind of stuff in the motor to where it could possibly interfere. So putting it over here off to the side, yes, that you could get it closer, but if you did, you could actually cause some interference or receive some interference from the motor. So that's why it's set over here just a little bit off to the side. But man, I think that pretty well wraps it up on the 2024 boat walkthrough. One final thing I'll mention is the prop that I run on this boat. I like the Fury 4. It's a 4-blade prop. 24 pitch is what seems to perform best on this boat for me. I like that it gets a better bite on a hole shot if I've got my Atlas jack plate raised way up. I'm able to get on plane quicker still then than I am with a 3-blade Fury. Top end speed is really close due to the fact of the kind of load that I'm carrying on this boat. I've got it loaded down pretty good, so that 4-blade prop carries that load a little bit better as well. And the mid-range pickup speed is definitely best with that 4-blade over a 3-blade from my experience. So a lot of benefits to it. I love the way it handles. I love the way it runs and everything. Could I get a little bit more speed out of a 3-blade? Some situations, yeah, I probably could, but that 4-blade, in my opinion, the overall performance of it is definitely better for my boat and from my experience. So that's the prop I run pretty much all the time anymore. Yeah, I think that wraps it up. Yeah, really excited for using this boat this season again on the Bass Pro Tour. Always fun, getting a new boat in, getting it broke in, making sure you've got everything dialed in and lined up before the season gets started. I actually got my boat earlier than I ever have. I got it the week of Thanksgiving, got a few days before Thanksgiving. So I'll have more time with this boat than I've ever had before the season gets started. So excited about that. Definitely, exciting start to the new year, new boat, time to go fishing.